Alright, and you are live, so go ahead and continue casting, and we'll be good to go.
All right, thank you very much. Oh, we got another hook by Thresh onto Misfortune. Varus is following up. He actually lands it slow this time. The cleanse did go down from Misfortune, but it didn't help her that much as Varus manages to put another piercing arrow into her. Sona, however, miraculously surviving. She could have taken one more auto attack from Super Raven if he had backed out just a little bit slower, and he would have gotten a double kill there. Orianna comes down, also getting hooked by Thresh, putting out a little damage on Thresh, and meanwhile, taking out Thresh before having to back out. Is Thresh going to pull for... Oh, there goes the piercing arrow, dropping Orianna at the very end, giving Varus another kill.
Yeah, the Thresh sort of doing work right now. What happened at first when they had that issue where they almost died was they saw Sona clearing the ward and they knew they were completely safe to go on MF, so they just did manage to land the hook, and once again they land another hook, and it's pretty much over for him at that point. So now Varus is actually 700 gold up on MF at the 8.5 minute mark, so things looking a bit bleak for 2-1 spot lane at this point, even though they're sort of ahead elsewhere.
Yeah, the game is actually goal-wise with the 5-3 kill score. The gold is evened out by the CS on Varus versus Misfortune, and I do believe DRGN got the first blood. Was it DRGN or was it Tuguan?
I actually don't. It was actually 2-1. It was the Orianna picking up the first blood on the Anivia in mid lane.
Yes, that's correct. Amumu coming in, catching Anivia a little bit out of sorts in mid lane.
Yeah, not going to be able to do much of anything there, and I also believe that Anivia's passive backup, so even if he had managed to do enough damage, I don't think he would have been able to get the kill all the way before she just sort of revived and walked away from it with a stun. So, not really much to be expected to happen there.
Well, Thresh and Varus are both back in lane. Varus has blue buff from killing the Orianna, so this could be very oppressive for Misfortune and Sona. Oh, Thresh misses a hook, and here comes the Amumu right behind. Sona goes down very quickly this time. Amumu missing his bandage toss. Coming in, Orianna also coming in. Amumu ult, Orianna ult, down goes Varus, and they're going to chase Thresh down. But Thresh is not going to be able to get away, it looks like. Amumu might have his bandage toss up here in just in time, but it doesn't look like he's going to need it. Mumu getting out, and that was a double kill for the Tuguans as they take out Varus and Thresh while losing Sona very early in that fight.
Yeah, it's just one of those examples of you can't really be fully aggressive if you don't have wards behind you to back it up. They didn't have any vision in the river. They didn't really see that coming, and they committed to it very, very hard and sort of paid the price. So we're now just sort of seeing more kind of farming across the map at this point. Orianna very far ahead of Anivia at this point. The major difference in bot lane is more than erased by the 1,800 gold difference at this point that Orianna has over Anivia. You'll just notice in the items you have the Athene's Unholy Grail, an Amplifying Tome, and boots versus Tear of the Goddess and a Ruby Crystal, and also boots. So Orianna very far ahead and going to be a very strong presence in this as we sort of move towards the time where teams will be looking to take Dragon and the like. So we see Thresh clearing a ward over here in the bot lane, and Mumu sort of walking his way down. Has to know that
walking right through the ward.
Yeah, there's just no easy way for Mumu to get in at this point. There's that ward in bush and river going to give him away, that ward over here, and get away. As long as DRGN doesn't push too far and give him an opportunity to, say, bandage over that wall by Tribush, they should be completely safe there.
I really think Amumu probably should have not even, when he saw the ward getting popped by Thresh, he probably could have not even bothered walking that way because he was just wasting time, honestly, because they were backing out immediately.
Yeah, but he did just catch him
Zach,
in
however,
seeing that. Ooh. Almost picking off both
a lot
of
of
them
damage
with
put off on Varus.
Gonna be very interested to see what they do from here. They could possibly look to go for Dragon because the bot lane for DRGN can't really contest this at this point.
Yeah, with Thresh and Varus having to back, and Anivia low on mana, it would be completely relying on Zach. And Orianna's got full mana, Amumu's double buffed, and bot lane, well, besides Sona, is pretty well on health. Sona has her exhaust, Misfortune has her flash. Oriana's got her ignite. If they try to take Dragon right then, they could have very easily without any ability to contest from Team Durgan.
Yeah, but we are now going to see blue buff just being taken by Oriana and Anivia on each side, so I think we're just going to see this sort of move into a little bit of a quiet phase for a while. Bot lane's been where a lot of the action has been all this game. Even most of Oriana's kills have been centered around that bot lane, so I'm just sort of interested in seeing what's going on down there. But top lane, which we haven't paid any attention to at all, that's a very interesting point that's to be made, as Durgan is getting quite an advantage up there. Kennen has almost 40 CS on Garen at this point, has that Seeker's Arm Guard, so there's not really anything that Garen can do about it at this point, as he's just gone straight into Aegis to Legion with no other items, as we see Durgan going for Dragon.
Yes, Durgan's going for Dragon, while Amumu was trying to gank top, walking through wards, let King know him there. But we do have an engagement. I don't think we see the Misfortune ult, but Misfortune goes down. Sona doesn't have her ult. She's going down to Anivia. And that was probably a poor engagement for Tuguan walking into that fight. Oh, here comes the flash from Oriana, not getting away from Kennen at all. Thresh laying the hook on Amumu. In comes Zac to knock it off. They're definitely going to get this Amumu to clean up, but Oriana is going to escape with her shield to prevent the Ignite from killing her.
Yeah, there really was nothing that Tuhuan could do to contest that, especially because Misfortune and Sona's ults were both down from that fight in bot lane, where we
and
saw
that's
them.
also going to cost them mid tower, maybe 2.
Yeah, Garen's going to get quite a bit of damage on that top tower as well, and we'll pick that up. So it's not really going to be that the tower is going to be mostly equalized. I don't think they'll try and go for 2 at this point, but the Dragon, definitely the large advantage is now we see Durgan has moved out to about a 1,500 gold advantage.
That was probably what the other issue with my stream was, is they get as bots. Oh, bots about to get 4V'd. But I think they're going to take bottom tower as well, making it a twofer.
Yeah,
I think the problem was I think I had chat going in my stream, so people were able to see that. Oops.
Yeah.
I normally when I spectate, I'm not casting for something like this, so I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I've had the same problem in the past. We see Oriana trying to make something happen on that Anivia in bot lane as she's just sort of running away, and this might actually be Durgan giving away that bot tower as well if they decide to pressure it. Although Thresh and Varus might be back in time, as we see Anivia now canceling her recall, so they should be able to hold this no problem, as Amumu's taking some free pressure down in mid lane as well. Might be able to pick that up.
Anivia's trying to clear the waves as fast as she can. She got that blue buff, so you're not going to be able to put a whole wave in there against her. Dragon went down at 1335, so we can expect to see that happening again in a few more minutes. As it is now 16. We got Mumu versus Zac happening in mid. Mumu has red buff. He's wearing down on the Zac, but I think Zac's regeneration is going to give him the advantage till Oriana shows up, drops some damage. Ooh, the Oriana ult's coming out. Flash from Mumu. Zac goes down. His passive is around. Misfortune is going to try and pick off as many of those as she can, where Oriana gets the last ball on it.
Yes, we see the fun minigame forced out of Zac there, and Oriana picking up the kill. A lot of gold on Oriana. If you look at the gold values for Tuhuan at this point, Oriana has 6,000 of their 21,000 gold. She has almost a third of the gold on the team. Well, that's probably
looks like Tuguan's going to try and return the favor after taking mid. Looks like they were going to try and head top, but did not. Also, speaking of the mini game for a second, well, there's not exactly a lot going on. I'm surprised. Not a lot of people know it, but smiting Zac's little blobs as he's dead is quite fun.
Not quite as fun as the best interaction with it, which fewer people know because, there's no reason for the majority of people to, but if you're playing Syndra, big if there,
I see where that goes.
You can actually pick up his blobs and throw them at each other, and it is about the most delightful champion interaction in the game.
This is fairly true. I will definitely give you that. It sounds like fun. But, getting a player kill with Smite, come on. That's got to be a highlight somewhere.
Yeah, as we see Durgan taking down that top tower just with complete ease. They have 5 up there versus the 3 down here. I'm not even certain if they can hold the second tower off, although they do manage to get quite a bit of damage onto Kennen, but the ult.
Oh, Amumu going in with the bandage toss engage. He's going full in there. Down goes the Amumu ult. Down goes Kennen. Looks like these three are going to put out massive damage. Garen putting her on that Anivia, putting her in egg form. Thresh going down to Orianna. Zax doesn't have his passive, so he's about to go down too. Down goes Zac, triple kill. Down goes Amumu finally. And now it's just Orianna versus the remaining 2. But 3 for 3 in that little fight. I think they held that pretty well.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked they did manage to hold that. 3v3 in a 3v5 situation is pretty darn good, but again,
they had a little help from the tower, a little bit.
Yeah. My main concern is going to be for Tuhuan's hopes in this game is that the vast majority of their gold is centered on that Orianna. So if Durgan manages to just take that Orianna down super early every fight, then that's a huge amount of the threat that they have on their side just completely gone immediately, as we see Miss Fortune managing to take that tower down in bot lane, having been ignored during that little fight up top. But they will know she's going back. If she is backing on a ward, Kennen might be able to interrupt. Well, just gets her to walk away.
Looks like Anivia's getting her next blue. I'm still mesmerized by that exchange 5v3 with the, or technically 5v4. The tower did put some damage in there, but that was a very impressive fight by Tuguan. Just putting a hurt.
I was quite impressed with it as well, because it almost looked like a lot of stuff didn't really hit that well either. I mean, you had the Orianna ult that really only caught Thresh. I know they were going for the Kennen who had taken half his health and just one, I believe, QW combo off of Orianna. But it didn't really seem like anything that they did to initiate aside from that Amumu ult really connected, and then they just sort of started picking off 3 of them, and it was just pretty fascinating to watch.
It does look like Durgan is going to make a play for the next dragon here. They dropped the ward to prep for incoming, and Tuguan is in no position to contest at all. Doesn't look like they're going to try and engage her this time, though, so that's probably better for them. Anivia trying to hold off top versus Amumu and Garen, but that is another dragon for Durgan.
Yeah, this game
despite being down 2 kills, even on towers, they are up exactly 1k gold thanks to Dragon.
Yeah, it's actually pretty fascinating to me because, I mean, if you looked at this a couple minutes ago when you had 3 of their members pinned up against that top tower and the valiant struggle they had up there, it looked like Durgan was sort of starting to have Tuhan on the ropes a little bit, but if you just look at the gold value, there's really not too huge of a difference. It's actually a fairly even game.
Yeah, it's all coming down to choices of engagement.
It's also coming down to who's able to pressure. We've seen a lot more pressure coming off of the Durgan side for the first while, and now sort of Tuhan's sort of pressuring on their own. We saw that taking bot lane, taking top lane. They took bot lane off of the engagement they had in top lane, so they're responding to the pressure that Durgan was putting down fairly well by using it to take things elsewhere on the map, just while the enemy team is just not there to defend it and holding with the rest of their team. So they're playing it fairly well. If they were behind before now, they really have managed to break out of that very easily.
I think partially the main gold factors, I can't see the actual gold. I think Varus is probably their gold leader on the on Team Durgan, while meanwhile Orianna definitely is the gold factor for Tuguan.
It's actually fairly interesting if you look at the gold, because you have on each team, you have sort of one thing that's really strong gold-wise, and they're actually about even at about 8,100 gold for Orianna off of Tuhan's side and Varus off of Durgan's side, and then you have one that's about 1,700 gold behind that. You have Miss Fortune.
Looks like they're trying to set up an engagement here. Thresh has got his ward down. He's going to try and hook someone to get this engagement going. Here comes Kennen. Oh, Kennen ult going down, dropping it in hard. down goes Amumu's ult, but also down goes Sona and Orianna. They took out the major damage factors. This is not going to turn out well. Zach's passive goes out. Misfortune's going to try and get him down, while meanwhile, everyone else is cleaned up by Kennen and Anivia. Misfortune's still alive, though. She's going to probably be able to take out this Kennen before having to fight Anivia by herself. Anivia gets the stun down. Down comes Misfortune's cleanse. Here goes Egg Form Anivia. Will she be able to drop her fast enough? She's got that red buff and that blue buff. She's trying to put it down. Oh, Anivia comes up just in time to get popped by Misfortune. Woo!
And this is what we said about picking their fights wisely. I'm not entirely certain if leading with that Kennen ult was the best move. It sort of allowed the Tuhan side to move out of it. If they'd have led with something else, they might have been able to either just blow something up immediately, or it almost looked like they got a bit impatient there and kind of jumped the gun.
Yeah. They probably should have waited for Thresh to land his hook so Mumu couldn't necessarily do anything while Zach charged up his leap to get in, followed by Kennen. It looked like a solid engagement. They took out 2 players right off the bat, but Misfortune being back in the back and only not having anyone really stopping her, she just cleaned house with Bloodthirster keeping her alive long enough to do enough damage to just kill everyone that was left.
Yeah, it's definitely going to play into the rest of the game. It's just going to be because now off of that fight, I was saying before that fight, they're sort of almost tiered in gold on each team, and now Misfortune is the same sort of. She's now only 200 gold behind Varus, so that fight alone just, I would say, swung a very large advantage over into Tuhan's side of the field.
Yeah, and I think Durgan's going to be a little bit more cautious now about how they choose engagements. They may possibly not even go in on engagements where they should, because they've lost like the last 2 engagements almost hand over feet.
Yeah, and another thing that probably plays into that is also the aura items. As we see the
Thresh landing a hook on Orianna, Varus missing his piercing arrow. Orianna backing out. Go on.
That was a very nice flash by Orianna to avoid that. But as I was saying, the aura items, if you look at the Emblem of Valor, it's the only aura that Durgan possesses. But if you look over on Tuhan's side, they have the Aegis of the Legion on Garen, as well as the Locket of the Iron Solari over on Amumu, and the Shirelias on Sona. So they have a lot of items that give their entire team a benefit in a fight, whereas Durgan just has a lot of items that give each individual member presence in a fight, and sometimes that can be very dangerous to have.
The Amumu getting a little bit of a grab there on Thresh, but not really being able to get a full engagement on. But now it looks like we're going to have a 5-on-4 on the Durgan turret mid, while Zach is nowhere to be seen clearing minions top. This could be possibly an engage under turret for them.
It could be, but I almost think that doing that at this point would be a bit suicidal for them, just because of that Anivia wall. She's able to clear waves super quickly, so they're going to have to hard tank that turret.
They're going for Zach right now. Zach's backing, but will he be able to get out in time? No, he's not going to get caught. Misfortune's fast, but not that fast. But meanwhile, this is going to be bad. Thresh getting the silence out, bandage toss going on to Thresh. Garen spinning out, Amumu ult goes down, although he probably could have saved it. Everyone else backing out, Nivea using the wall to secure their escape route. But that was probably a poor choice for them walking into the fog of war like that.
Yeah, that was actually a very good play by Tuhan as well. They knew that it was likely that they were going to try and get a ward over there at some point in time. So they just waited in that bush for Thresh to go around. I actually think, if I'm remembering correctly...
It looks like Tuguan's going to get their first dragon of the game, but it looks like Zach might try to contest. Zach and everyone's going in on the Sona, who was playing a meat shield. Down goes Dragon, but now we might have a fight. Orianna is getting pinned down hard. The Kennen ult... Oh, damn it. Orianna is still alive. Garen's just running around doing his spin thing. Orianna might make it out, but she's in dire straits, being surrounded by the Kennen and Nivea. Garen's making his escape, he gets caught by Zach and Thresh. Orianna finally goes down to the remaining 3. Garen's still making a run for the money. He is probably going to get out of this as soon as his Q comes up. Yep, there it goes. Zach almost catching up. Will Thresh land a hook? Nope, Thresh misses the hook. Garen escapes Well, Misfortune is now trying to stop the tower push. Don't think she's going to be able to. There goes the ult. There goes the wave clear. I stand corrected.
Yeah, it was actually a very well played fight by Tuhan as well. They were sort of caught out, and they managed to only go, I believe, 2 of them going down for what looked like everyone who was at Dragon was just going to get wiped out. So that was very well played by them. They're very good, if I'm remembering correctly from the time we faced them, my old team. They're very good at manipulating Fog of War and like that, and knowing how to abuse vision. Because I believe they
looks
actually.
like Kennan's taking some major poke here. I mean, Kennan's giving, also taking. Sona wasn't able to deliver.
I believe that play around red buff, they actually successfully performed on us one game. Now I think about it, so they're a bit practiced in that from past games as well. So they really know what they're doing as far as that's concerned, and just getting good catches in the jungle, be it their jungle or the enemy jungle, as the case may be.
Looks like Thresh dropping his Sightstone charges into the Banana Bush and the Baron Pit. No pink, but there's not a ward there either at the moment for Tuguan. So they may possibly end up walking into a trap if they try to go for Baron here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, I'm not entirely certain if going for Baron would necessarily be in their best interests right now. They really, I mean, Sona only
they got
has...
spotted by the Banana Bush. Sona looks like she's going to go. Yep, she's going to go clear that ward. Oh, we seem to have a pause going out.
So just right now we're in this pause. I might as well make this note. Vision control is going to very soon be very heavily in Durgan's favor unless they do something to kind of equalize it. As Sona only has, first of all, the regular Sightstone as opposed to Ruby Sightstone, which gives her just only 2 wards out on the map at any point in time off of that Sightstone, as opposed to Ruby Sightstone gives you 3. And in addition, we've seen Thresh now picking up the Oracle's Elixir alongside his Boots of Mobility, so he's going to be running around the map at warp speed, clearing every ward he can. Whereas as far as denying vision goes, Tuhan's sort of having to rely on those pink wards at this point in time. So it's very interesting to see the 2 different styles of support. You have Sona, who rushed into that Shirelia's, getting the helpful active for her team, as opposed to Durgan, which is now going for Thresh, who doesn't really have any powerful item like that, but he does have the Oracles, so he's going to be more looking to deny vision than anything.
Okay, game is back on. Looks like Le 5 Morales has reconnected. But now it looks like there might be a little bit... Nope, that pink is outside of the range of that green, so Sona cannot go pick that off. But if it was in range, I think that's what Thresh was counting on.
Yeah, almost a bit... One of those times where it's almost a bit unfortunate that your ward isn't getting cleared. So we're actually going to see... Tuhan looking to pressure this mid tower now.
Varus and Zac clearing the way. Misfortune dropping her AoE. Not her ult, but just her ground pound, basically.
Yeah, and Thresh throwing out the lantern to grab those souls, always very important. Number one thing to be doing on Thresh, making sure you're getting souls at every point in time. It has to be your number one priority. Fun mini games is the word of the day over on Durgan's side between the Soul Gathering and the Zac blobs. So we see now Durgan going for their blue buff, Tuhan going for their blue buff. So it looks like they're just going to sort of fall out and take buffs for right now, so we won't see too much going on for the next minute or so.
Although... Sorry, I had a yawn.
Understandable. Looking again at items really quick, we see Misfortune has that Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper combination. Varus is gone.
Thresh has got Oracles. I mean Thresh, sorry. You said Varus, I was going to say that, so yeah.
Yeah. Varus is gone. Varus is gone Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, and Infinity Edge, as opposed to the Last Whisper next. So he's going to have a hard time dealing with a lot of the armor over on Tuhon's side, because they have the Zanya's Hourglass on Oriana, in addition to the Lock of the Iron Solar. Gives a bit of armor to Amumu, and the
as well as
Sunfire
the
Cape.
the group shield. That little bit of extra shield always helps. It looks like Tuguan might actually be trying to make a play for Baron, but they do not have a ward dropped on it just yet. I think Misfortune's holding her pink.
It's actually
Amumu's got oracles.
It's actually very rare for me lately to see an AD carry buying a pink ward. That's throwing me off a little bit. Usually, I mean, I don't even see AD carries in my games buying wards half the time. Hell, I hardly see anyone else buying wards if it's solo queue. So, as it looks like
the bandage toss goes down on Nivea. Amumu ult goes down, grabs 3 people. Kennen's following up. Down goes the Oriana ult, and Misfortune ult gets interrupted. Zac is right in the thick of it. Down goes the Zac for his passive. Mumu goes down to Kennen. Down goes Garen to Varus. The Thresh hook lands on the Sona, pulling her in. Thresh goes in, drops his ult. Oh, this could possibly be bad. The Misfortune flashes out, just narrowly dodging Varus. Varus flashes to chase, charging up that piercing arrow. He might be able to land Oriana. Bam! Yes, he gets Oriana, but not Misfortune. Apparently, Oriana thought Misfortune was more important than herself. So now Varus is double buffed and clearing mid. That was technically an even fight. 3 for 3. The mids and the carries, the top for Durgan and the AD carry lasting while just Misfortune lasted.
Yeah, I would actually expect to see a pause in a moment, as we did just see a disconnect and reconnect, but I guess they're not too concerned about it.
Doesn't look like anything is going on at the moment.
Actually was 3 for 4 as Kennen narrowly surviving there, so very good fight for Durgan, considering it started with the Amumu initiating on, but what happened was the Amumu initiated into the fight across an Anivia wall, so the rest of his team couldn't get in that position. That's what we were talking about before the game, was that Durgan has a lot of ways of controlling the field of play at any given point in time, and they managed to hold off a lot of the AoE of Tuhon. In addition, Misfortune's ult got interrupted pretty much right away, so that was a lot of the damage of the AoE. If she'd have gotten that full ult off, they probably would have cleaned up.
As soon as they engaged, like you said, they had to go around that Anivia wall. That gave Zac time to charge his lunge, and he lunged in right as Misfortune started her ult, landed right on top of her, disrupted it, and at that point, it didn't matter that Oriana and Sona had used their ults, because Misfortune's ult got interrupted and they lost a lot of damage in there. But it looks like it's going to be 5 of them chasing down 3 into the river. Garen and Amumu possibly going to try and hold this off for Oriana so she can escape. Zac's ult going down. Amumu right in the middle of them lands the ticket. We get a full Misfortune ult followed by Sona. That wipes out 3 of them. Oh, Kennen's Zanya's does not save him. Mumu flashes over to chase down Zac. It doesn't look like he's going to have his passive this time. Mumu is just on his heels. Is he going to get him? Oh, yes. He gets away just a little bit longer, right to land into a bandage toss. That is an ace for Tuguan. It looks like they are going to push mid. They are probably going to get an inhibitor almost guaranteed out of this.
That was just an absolutely brilliantly played fight by Tuhon there. They got everything they needed. They got off the Amumu ult into the Oriana ult, into the Misfortune ult, and then Durgan was just already dead at that point. There wasn't really much to be said. I almost
chaining Amumu into Oriana and Sona, just that gave Misfortune her full timing on her ult channel, and it just wiped out Durgan's health.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that could have been a bit prevented too, because they'd split them off and they went after the Oriana, Amumu, and Garen, and Misfortune and Sona came around the backside of Durgan's entire team, and Misfortune actually showed herself during that. She was standing in a warded bush, she walked out of it, and they continued going after the other 3. So I almost think they tunnel visioned a little bit when they probably could have picked off the Misfortune and Sona.
They probably could have turned and grabbed Misfortune and Sona and won that fight basically hands down. Yeah, you're right.
So a little bit of a misplay
they
there.
Did see them. They knew they were coming, because that ward that Oriana was about to just walk through right there, that one right there in the banana bush, they should have turned almost immediately onto Misfortune and Sona. But it looks like Durgan's going to make a play here, going for Baron, since they know that Tu Guan is nowhere around. Durgan gets Baron. This could be a little bit of a changer for the next fight, definitely.
Yeah, this game, very exciting game. I'm glad I've had the chance to cast it so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of this match because this is one of the more interesting games I've seen. It's very back and forth. Tuan has about a 4,000 gold lead, but that really doesn't do justice to how close this game has been at this point.
This game is going to probably come down to which team gets aced and who has the most people up afterwards. Because with an inhibitor down for Durgan, they're on the ropes a little bit for defending. But they have Baron, so they don't have to worry about that coming out.
And again, just sort of looking
Possibly?
at the auras, as I was saying earlier, when we were noting they have finished Runic Bulwark onto Zac, as well as the Locket on Thresh, but you'll also notice that the Amumu on Tuhon's side has picked up a Randuin's Omen, as well as now a Black Cleaver on Garen, so that's going to help out with shredding armor of anything that Misfortune wants to win. Yeah, the spinning of armor shredding Doom is going to be very, very potent in combination with Misfortune ult to take down the... I mean, I would say that will probably pretty much negate the armor taken by the Bulwark at this point. But, of course, if they didn't have the Bulwark, then it would be even worse for them.
Garen is a massive wall right now for them to walk through. And walking through Garen means they are losing a lot of defensive stats. Because he's got his Sunfire, he's got the Bulwark, and he's got the Black Cleaver. To get past Garen, they are going to be taking some damage, and by the time they get through them, the defensive stats can get reduced, and they're going to take even more.
And even beyond that, it's going to be even harder for them to get through Garen, as Varus still does not have any armor penetration in his build. He's elected to go for Blade of the Ruined King after his Infinity Edge, as opposed to a Last Whisper, so he still doesn't have any... armor penetration. He has quite a bit of lifesteal. He has, oh my goodness, tiny numbers again, about 350 or so AD, but he doesn't have anything to get through that armor.
This is going to be interesting. It looks like they might get pinned down in the jungle again. Sona, Garen, and Misfortune around. They're chasing Orianna. Orianna is completely by herself, flashes out of the Zac leap. While meanwhile, Amu gets into the middle of them, ults again, Misfortune getting a full timing on her ult, but they are quite spread out. The Seed of Corruption going out, Amumu going in for a little bit more poke, Zac trying to chase him out in a fight. Down goes Misfortune, but the Sona ult finally comes out while they're chasing down Zac. They probably poor choice on chase here, because Durgan still has Baron. Amumu's not going to be able to hold off. Oh, there goes his Randuin's Omen, possibly giving Orianna the net needed time to get away. They only seem to have lost Misfortune in that fight, but with all of the ults they use and everything and flashes, that fight I think definitely went Durgan's favor, especially because they shouldn't have been engaged when they had Baron like that.
Well, even beyond just the Baron, the positioning for that fight was not really ever going to be good for Tuan at that point. They were pretty much 5 individual people sort of coming in one by one. I mean, Misfortune would have died a lot sooner in that fight, but what happened was Anivia actually put down a wall that kept them from being able to get to Misfortune, so they had to fight the rest of the team before they could just turn around and kill her, which they did the second the wall dropped.
First blood.
She'd have used that time to sort of sorry, that threw me off a little bit. They used that time to... If Misfortune used that time to get away
past first blood.
Yeah, I think we hit that about half an hour ago.
Yeah.
At this point. Okay then. Esports is a vehicle, and sometimes people are shouting out the windows of the other cars, I guess.
Who changed the radio station?
Oh, I don't even know, but that has helped shore up the A bit of a gold deficit that Durgan had gotten is now only about 1,500 again. And I believe that 4,000 gold advantage was the first time we've seen all game it actually go beyond that 1,500 advantage. So game's still very close, still very much go either direction, and that's very rare to see at this late of a stage of the game. I mean, it's 40 minutes in. I still don't know who's going to win.
Okay, Kennen ult going down as the team gets engaged. The Mumu ult cutting off the rest of the team. Misfortune gets only a couple bases of her ult. Sona ult not really landing on anything. Down goes Kennen to Misfortune. Varus finally killing the Garen. Thresh ult goes down, possibly saving Anivia as... Ooh, this is definitely... Yeah, that fight was completely to the advantage of Team Durgan, as they have Varus and Zac left alive, and they're going to push hard for this middle turret. They're going to get an inhibitor off of this, I do believe.
Almost definitely, and more importantly, it also comes down right as their inhibitor respawns. So it goes from them sort of being on the back foot, having to deal with their inhibitor down, having to make sure that mid lane is under control to be able to do anything anywhere else, to now Tuwon has to be worried about that inhibitor down in mid lane, and they can be the ones to sort of take over the pressure on the map. That being said, they're going to have to go back right after this because their other lanes are pushed fairly severely, and the enemy team is going to be coming up in very short
Looks
time.
like they're going to make a play for Blue and Dragon. Nivea's not. Nope, Nivea's going with them to Dragon. She's not splitting off for the Blue. But she will be able to get the Blue from their side, so I don't think she's too worried about that. Zac doing his flubber thing, getting in there.
Yeah, as we see Varus leaving the creeps on the red buff, I'm not entirely certain I agree with that. Teleport coming in.
Oh, Garen coming in, forcing them off of the Dragon. And Nivea's still very low. Oh, yep. Garen was just forcing them off the Dragon. He didn't want to necessarily chase because the rest of their team was regrouping. He might not have gotten the Anivia into egg form, let alone killed her without getting caught by someone else.
And once again,
they definitely have control of this Dragon.
Yeah, once again with this Dragon, we're now seeing the gold lead normalizing to, once again, 1,500 over onto Durgan's side, which means less and less as time goes on. As Varus now completing that last Whisper, I'm very interested to see how fights will go from now on with him picking that up.
Yeah, he was already able to actually do a lot of damage to Garen despite that because of his Bork, his Infinity Edge, Bloodthirster, and now Last Whisper. There he goes. He just took a big chunk out of Garen's leg there.
Yeah, but they're not able to defend that tower as Kennen currently shoving out the top lane. But on the other hand, Tuhon's going to have to go back and deal with that now. So
Right,
it looks like they're...
Yep. They know Tuguan's backing, so they're going to try and make a play for this Baron that came up. And with Kennen having pushed top, they don't have any wards, though, in Tuguan's jungle. So hopefully Thresh can get something down before the team gets up there, or else he might get caught with those wards, or they might get engaged prematurely. Thresh dropping that one ward. Oh, the first one didn't even land in the bush, so he had to use a second one. A counter ward coming down, no pinks, though. It looks like they are split up, though, so they are counting on this. Orianna is way back. They got Baron, Kennen ult going down, a little premature. A full Misfortune ult going down. They do kill a Mumu, though.
Yeah.
There's the Garen going down. Misfortune's about to go down when Zac lands on her. Oh, no. He was caught by the Orianna. That was interesting. Sona ult following up, putting a little bit more damage. They're not going to get any kills out of this, but they are probably slowing down the chase here. That's definitely going to cost them top tower, but not an inhib because they got out.
Yeah, it was really quite unfortunate what happened there. They wanted to contest that Baron off of Durgan, but Amumu just sort of ran in and really died without doing much of anything. He was waiting for the rest of his team to come in behind, and they just weren't able to get there. So he just sort of died for free, and from there was nothing really that Tuhon could do. Wow, absolutely chunking that Thresh, almost taking him down.
Yeah, with Sona getting chunked at the same time. The supports aren't as tanky as they look.
Yeah, as we see now, Sona has finished the Spooky Ghost's Twin Shadow. It's off. Ugh. words are hard, has now finished a Twin Shadows to add to their arsenal of various item actives and aura items. Misfortune now going for a Quicksilver Sash so that she can get rid of whichever of the 3 stuns. I mean, take your pick. Which stun do you want to cleanse today? So that will actually help them quite a bit. Varus will probably do more damage because he has that. Blade the Ruin King has the procs of his corruption, I believe is the correct word. I'm suddenly forgetting how words work, so you'll have
just
to
a
bear with me
forewarning,
for a
you might hear a little bit of somewhat background noise. I don't know if my mic's going to pick it up. It's going to sound like a machine. It's the fan for my vent is going to be on here for a few minutes, so I'm going to be muting my mic in between saying things.
perfectly understandable. Esports is a vehicle, and sometimes the air conditioning is a bit loud, but you can usually fix that just with, I mean, but on the other hand, you need air conditioning if it's hot out, so you know how it is. That's sort of
could you
rambling.
hear it when I was talking? Because
I can hear
it's loud to me.
I can hear absolutely nothing, but I'm also sitting next to my own computer fan, so fan noise just sort of blends into the background at this point. Looks like we might see a fight here. Maybe not. Now both sides sort of backing off. DRGN looks like they want to pressure somewhere. They're just not certain where yet. So this could be interesting if they manage to catch someone out.
Well, a lot of wards went down, but they are definitely coming for this top inhib. They do want that.
Yeah, Orianna got quite a bit of damage down onto Varus there, but he healed it all back up in 3 shots because he had so much lifesteal off of that Bloodthirst.
The piercing arrow comes in, puts a chunk into Orianna. Kennen leaps right in, stunning Orianna. Orianna goes into her Zhonya's, followed by the Sona ult, Orianna ult. Orianna pulling out and then managing to take out Kennen, but Sona and Garen go down in the process. Orianna gets cleaned out, and the only one alive is Amumu. But unfortunately, he is not going to be able to stop them from pushing. This might be game. 60 seconds with Amumu not having any backup against that massive CC engine they have is not good at all.
Yeah, it just sort of once again came down to who flinched first. I mean, both sides very even all game. That was one of the best matches I would actually honestly say probably the best match I've ever casted. And I'm very glad to have seen that. I'm looking very much forward to game number 2. I'm also looking forward to the picks and bans because I want to see what they do with the knowledge from this game. So, Team DRGN picking up game number 1.
Definitely an intense game, but it all came down to those team fights at the end, and the engaging onto them when they had Baron was probably the turning point that they should not have done.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, I don't think necessarily going on that fight was a bad thing, but the way they did it was just, it was a terrible way of approaching it. I hate having to speak in absolutes like that, and I feel like I just sort of became the sort of caster I dislike who speaks like that, but it was just, they didn't execute it well, unfortunately. Amumu sort of wandered in and didn't manage to get anything off of it. So overall, I mean, it was very tight play from both teams for the most part. There were some mistakes here and there, and then you just had that one fatal error that basically gave DRGN the game at that point. So it'll be a small break as we get into game number 2. I need to grab some water, so enjoy lovely hold time.
Oh, wait, no elevator music? Okay.